to the doctor, they have lost some time at their homes, and then they come to you. I hope now this 6 weeks criteria by the rheumatologist is put into the basket, and they say, all right, let's start coming up with anti-CCP antibodies instead of doing all those things of 7 and all these things, because anti-CCP is, I think, quite specific. So if you want to be specific now, why don't you go for a specific thing and diagnose it? And my other question is, would it be positive in the relatives also, because then we can keep an eye on them and start looking at those relatives too? This is a question from the rheumatologist. And before I give the mic, because you won't allow me to take the mic again, this is a request to my guest of honor of today, Professor Zafrullah Saab, that rheumatology is a very important field. And because I smelled that when you were giving a lecture that you want that after 2 years they can switch on to rheumatology. And I was requesting Professor Meir that please don't do it, because you have to know basic medicine before they go to rheumatology. And I hope you stick on to this, that after 4 years you go on to rheumatology. Thank you. Thank you for those claps. Because they are all with me, Professor. And number two, another request is wherever you have rheumatology units, I hope you set up rehabilitation centers too. Because we are lacking in rehabilitation centers, and if you can have some fellowship or some diploma in rehabilitation medicine, I think that will be doing good to the country too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nighat. I'd like to direct Dr. Nighat's question to Dr. Deirdre. Her question basically is that do relatives of anti-CCP positive rheumatoid arthritis also have an increased tendency to have the antibody tested positive without overt disease, right?
I think that's a difficult question to answer, isn't it? I understand there's a very small increased incidence of positive anti-CCP antibody relatives patients with rheumatoid, but it's beyond the scope of the information available and beyond the scope of what's practical at the moment, really, to search out, potentially treat these patients in advance. There has been one study that I'm aware of that's identified a group of patients who are... Sorry? Sorry. All right, I'll say it again. I think it's a good question, but actually a very difficult question to answer. There is a small increased incidence of positive anti-CCP antibodies in relatives of patients with rheumatoid arthritis, but taking that a step beyond, being able to screen those patients and monitor them, potentially treat them for rheumatoid, is beyond what we're capable of doing at the moment. There is one study that I'm aware of that's looked at patients with positive anti-CCP antibody and give them prophylactic treatment. I don't know the detail, I can get it for you, but and it did show that compared with another cohort, there was a lower instance of development of disease, and they did better in the longer term. But so I think this is an ideal which is beyond the scope of rheumatology practice that we're very capable of at the moment, but a space to be watched, perhaps.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to thank all of you. Particularly, I'd like to thank Professor Zafrullah Saab for taking time out and attending this conference. Thank you all for coming. Thank you particularly our foreign speakers, Dr. Deirdre and Dr. Gibson. We concluding. Actually, there was shortage of time.